The views, comments, and opinions of the following program do not necessarily reflect those of Morris Media Studios, MorrisMediaLive.com, or its affiliates. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome to Liberated Sisters. I'm Sister Charlene Muhammad, your host. I want you to buckle up. We're streaming live at MorrisMediaLive.com, the beautiful Morris Media Studios in Leimert Park. We have today with us student minister Sayyid Malik Sayyid Muhammad, formerly Brother Tony Muhammad. He's going to be talking about the 75th Southern California Peace Ride, 75th Peace Ride coming up this Sunday, June 23rd. We're going to have Brother Jesse Muhammad with the Farrakhan Factor, but first, the Justice Report. In the Justice Report, wars and rumors of war coming out of the Final Call newspaper. Is the United States marching steadily to war with Iran? The Trump administration is stoking fear of a potential conflict with Iran, writes Final Call senior editor Askia Mohammed. The president withdrew from the landmark Iran nuclear deal, the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, in May 2018. More recently, National Security Advisor John Bolton asked the Pentagon to provide the White House with military options to strike Iran. U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo said Iran was behind the attacks on 2 oil tankers in the Gulf of Oman June 13th, implicating the nation in the second set of attacks on tankers in the region in 2 months. U.S. Central Command even released a video it says shows Iran removing an unexploded mine from one of the tankers it's accused of attacking. But the Japanese owner, now get this, the Japanese owner of the ship that was damaged denied that it was struck by mines, as the U.S. claims, insisting instead that it was hit by flying objects. That's quote unquote. Yutaka Kadada, president of the Kokuya Sangyo shipping firm that owns the Kokuya Courageous tanker, told reporters in Tokyo mid-June that the crew says it was hit with a flying object. In Charleston, South Carolina, the emotional commemoration of June 17, 2015 marked a date etched in the memory of America because of the racially motivated murder of 9 black parishioners during a Bible study inside Mother Emanuel African Methodist Episcopalian Church. This reports writer Brian Muhammad. White supremacist Dylan Roof was sentenced to death for the murders and is now on death row. And in Memphis, Tennessee, contributing writer Donna Muhammad reports on how the Freyer community there erupted in protest after U.S. Marshals fatally shot 20-year-old Brandon Weber. Police fired as many as 20 shots. Over the course of the evening, June 12th, tensions mounted and hashtag Brandon Weber began trending in Memphis with over 7,000 tweets. Mr. Weber makes the 23rd officer-involved shooting victim in Tennessee in 2019 alone. And that's the Justice Report. I want to say, before we close out, on a lighter note, congratulations to our student Eastern Region MGT GCC Captain Jana Muhammad. She was honored by the National Council of Negro Women Incorporated, Queens County section in New York, for her great service to the community. Congratulations, Sister Jana. And now we have the Farrakhan factor.
I was told to deliver this message. You think you're invincible because you got money, bombs, guns, and planes, killing babies, innocent people. I think you're insane. Chaos and destruction is the name of your game. Somebody's got to stop.
You know what time it is. We're going to hear from Brother Jesse Muhammad. He's going to discuss more about the clip that we're about to show you, courtesy of the Nation of Islam's Imam Imam Sultan Rahman Muhammad. They are fresh, a delegation of 17 with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan from Hajj, from the pilgrimage Mecca, and journey in Mecca. And so we have this clip showing the delegation making their circle around the Kaaba. Here it is.
يا أرحم الراحمين الله أكبر بسم الله تقدموا شوي عن لا إله إلا الله. Is that yours? أسألك إني أسألك الجنة ونعيمها الذي لا يحول ولا يزول أبدا وأسألك بقول وفعل وعدل وأعوذ بك من النار وعذابها وما يقربني إليها من قول.
Wow, what a beautiful sight. Let's bring in Brother Jesse. Brother Jesse?
Yes, ma'am.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
We have with us also, I hadn't brought him in yet, but I want you to know Brother Abdul Malik Sayyid Muhammad, student minister, is right here with us as well.
Oh, yes. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
God is still right.
That's right.
That's right. Tore it up on that rostrum, didn't he?
Oh, Lord, look. We had to call the fire department here in Houston, Texas, because when brother left, things were left aflame and smoking, but thanks be to Allah, our rostrum is now back intact. Fire extinguisher on it.
Put it back
Thank Allah
together.
for him and his wife with their beautiful, beautiful presence.
Yes, indeed. Thank you. Well, Brother Jesse, go ahead and let us have your thoughts about what we just witnessed there and also the Farrakhan factor.
Absolutely. You know, there's so much going on in the world that we as students, first, of the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, through the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, cannot have a short attention span. And we can't be like others who are immediately on to the next thing. So I wanted to again invite us to go back and read thoroughly last week's edition of the Final Call newspaper with the headline, Islam Dignified. And go back and read and drink in all of the testimonies, the words of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan at the hill where the Battle of Uhud took place, and just go in and take in all of the video clips of those that posted while they were there in Mecca, because it's so important that we not overlook what is taking place. And in this week's edition of the Final Call, Sister Charlene, the minister blessed us with a release of excerpts from an interview that he did with a journalist in Saudi Arabia. And when I read it this morning, it was so heart-wrenching, because the minister is dealing with Shaitan getting into the center of the Ummah of the Muslim world, even down to dealing with rumors that people are talking about that Muslims from Iran want to destroy the Kaaba. And the minister is getting right in the nexus of that to show how Shaitan is at the center of all of this with America's hidden hand. And so, as I was reading that, it goes right into the cover of this week. Well, we know that Iran has never been off the table for the United States of America.
That's right.
And this is why we will continuously tell people, Minister Farrakhan has given us the headline before the headline. And if you go back and watch his timeless series, The Time and What Must Be Done, he talks about the shadow government. He talks about the memo that Wesley Clark made known about the nations that America wanted to destabilize and take over, and Iran is the last piece of their puzzle.
Wow.
So we don't want you to get caught up in the smoke screens. We don't want you to get caught up in the sideshow of somebody coughing and interrupting an interview in the Oval Office.
Come on now.
We want you to stay focused on the agenda of the shadow government, whose focus is to destroy Iran and ultimately to turn their focus and target towards this tiny little nation of Islam that continues to be the thorn in the side of this government. So the Farrakhan factor is that the minister's visit to Iran and Mecca is not lightweight. The enemy is studying it, and they're watching to see how we will react over here in America to it, to open our eyes to the greater agenda that is going on. So it's so much in it, and I just wanted to admonish us to please study it. Parse every word. Go back and look at the clip and the videos. And for those, we have to say that was a little concern from the pictures and the videos. We want you to know that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is strong and able-bodied and can walk.
That's right.
But the reason he was in the wheelchair is because Imam Sultan Rahman said, now, Brother Abdul Malik, you got to hold your seatbelt on this one. He said that the dimensions or the length of El Haram was nearly a half a mile by a half a mile.
Wow.
So they wanted to preserve those who received our beloved minister, wanted to make sure he was comfortable, that he wouldn't have to walk that length. But that half a mile by a half a mile surely sounds
Come on now.
to us.
Come on.
Yes, indeed.
That part.
So
yes,
we want y'all to
indeed.
know our beloved minister is doing very well. He's strong. He's excited. And God willing, those who will be in Detroit, Michigan this weekend, he will be receiving a Blessed Award at the NCOBRA convention, as well as being one of the keynote speakers. And we know you will see him standing strong by God's grace.
Wow.
That's the Farrakhan factor.
Brother Jesse, thank you so much. You always bring the heat with it. You know, that half mile by half mile is so significant. But you know what? And thank you, Brother Jesse. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
As we bring in now Student Minister Abdul, Malik, Sayyid, Muhammad, you know, the brothers and sisters, let's be clear, they would have carried the minister if it was necessary.
Right.
But
Absolutely.
it wasn't. But I mean, a half mile by half mile, just to see that stone draped in black. But assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Thanks for joining us again.
It's my honor. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, spread the word. We're talking about the peace ride. But before we get there, is there anything you would like to comment on that you've heard so far today?
No, I mean, I just love being enlightened myself. There's sometimes people who do a lot of talking. It balances me off sometimes when I can take some things in.
Yes, sir.
You know, so just to hear Brother Jesse tell us about some of the aspects of the minister and his delegation recent trip to Saudi Arabia, Mecca, I mean, that's just real. And so I want to take that in and study it because it's a sign of something that's about to go down.
Yes, sir.
That we may or may not be aware of. So I love everything about your show, Sister Charlene.
All praise is due to Allah. Look, this is my minister here. He gave that word that made me decide to, you know, it quickened my spirit to stand up and become a follower of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. It was December 1995, right after the Million Man March. I've been following Brother Malik ever since, to the minister, to the Christ, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. So thank you. You know, when he comes, answers the phone call for Final Call interviews, comes in person to Morris Media Studios. It's really something I don't take lightly, and I'm very proud of it to be able to say that I know this brother who's doing so much work on all levels, you know, from the streets to corporate rooms to entertainment, wherever you want to take the call for peace, he's able to go in there and advocate for us, and I appreciate that.
Thank you.
I've been having a ringside seat to this brother's work, and you can get one too. You join us on June 23rd for the 75th Peace Ride. Now, that's 75. How could you all sustain that?
Well, it's purpose. It's purpose driven. You know, it's an act of kindness, and it's our sole purpose is to deliver our people to the Lamb of God. So when you have a labor of love, it's not work. And that's the consistency of it, that this is the 75th Peace Ride. I mean, we've been doing these for 8 years now. Nonstop, every month, without fail, with the exception of the month of December. And it has grown in popularity. We've branded this particular ride, and now the community expects it. And so it is an opportunity to where we want to begin a peace movement. And it started 8 years ago, you know, at the behest of going to a scene where a mother, a black mother with blood all over her dress and clothing, after putting her son in the coroner's car, and she just turned around and I just hugged her, and she just started shouting to me, "Please stop it. You know, we need your help. You need to stop this. They need to stop." And so from that, we started the Peace Rise, because I also witnessed that whenever in white suburbia, whenever white children or white students are murdered or shot due to gun violence, I watched the amount of love that is sent into that area. I watched the amount of resources and money, even from our entertainment community. And then I watched how that kind of love, that kind of energy and resources help the family get through their pain. But when it comes to the black community, when it comes to the brown, 25,000 have been murdered due to gun violence. But no love pours into the black community. No one is there for Shaniqua. No one is there for Miss Betty. No one is there for Miss Gloria. No one is there for Miss Ramirez. And so I said, well, that's our role. That's our job. And so every time there's a shooting now, we attempt to show up to the scene and to bring our resources, our love, our condolences. We sit with the families. We let them know that we want to make sure that your child did not die in vain, and we want to take the life that was snuffed out and add it to our life and save other children in the name of those who've lost their lives to gang violence. And it helps these families. The families appreciate it. The homies, when they see us walking into the homes of those who've been murdered, it blows them away that, wow, somebody really cared. And now it's gotten national attention. Houston have started a peace ride. Dallas have started a peace ride. New York has started a peace ride. St. Louis have started a peace ride. South Carolina now in Charlotte, they want to do one. So it's an honor.
And by the way, and praise be to Allah. Look at all of that. That's a synopsis of the 75. And also for Justice or Else 10-10-15, there was a ride across the country.
And we met at the mall on D.C., and we had about 3,000 bikers, you know, that showed up for that. And so we don't just ride, but when we ride and we get to the park, we always have an edutainment where we have tents, where we bring jobs to the people. You know, we have services for the people, those who want to get out of gang violence. We have the gang interventionists that are there. We have a tent for mothers who just want to pray.
There's a festival as well.
We have a Jumbotron screen to where we start making the announcements, just like they do for 9/11 every year.
Yeah.
There's a bell that goes off in New York for the number of victims. Where's the bell for the hood? That's what we do.
That's right.
And we also have the entertainers, and we sing and we dance about what we're writing about, but we do not play music that causes us to be antagonistic. We play the kind of music that lifts our spirit, that brings life into us. Yeah. And it's just beautiful to see entertainers like this new hip-hop artist called Buddy, my son, Kent James, Battle Cat. Is going to be there. Brother Freddie Gibbs, these up-and-coming artists. Yeah. And this particular ride, we're riding in the name of Brother Nipsey Hussle, who wanted to participate.
Yes, sir.
In this month's ride, and Nipsey was going to produce 2 to 4 songs for families who've lost loved ones to gang violence. And so, if you remember, there was a interview that Brother Nipsey did. And Brother Nipsey, when he was talking about Dr. Sebi and what he was trying to do, and I think the interviewer asked him, man, do you fear for your life? And Brother Nipsey said, well, if anything ever happened to me, I just want the homies to ride for me. Well, these peace rides didn't start as a result of Nip. We've been doing it for 8 years. So we now want to ride to honor what he wanted to do for this month. And we want to now push his legacy. So this Sunday, we're going to be calling home all the black athletes. We're going to call for the black entertainers. If you can go to white suburbia and show love for those mothers, come to the hood. Come show that you care about the place that produced you. Your talent, your music, your creativity came out as a result of the pain from the hood. And so we want you to come back and help us to resolve this problem of fratricide. And I'm telling you, it's picking up steam that by October, God willing, the peace rides they will reach epic proportion, God willing, by October, because we're expecting something big to happen where we're proposing that the 24th anniversary of the Million Man March, we're hoping will be right here in Los Angeles.
Did you all hear that? Oh, my God, they're responding online, too. That's right. Show that you care about the place that produced you. Listen, he said the proposal is on the anniversary of the Million Man March.
That is our
October. Hope. That's the hope. That's the prayer. Some of the comments it's time for them to put up are shut up. Where's the bell for the hood? The people are responding. And you can also call in if you would like. But one thing I'm thinking, I've been working on a book, Pumps on the Ground, that chronicles a lot of the work with the Final Call newspaper, radio, but it bores out of the Final Call work and covering some of the atrocities, right? And Brother Malik, over time, as you know, this on-the-ground work he's talking about has been mother after mother, family after family grieving, and Sister Vicky, Lindsay, and Minnie, right? Project Cry No More. We miss you, Vicky. Assalamu alaikum. Talked about, as we would see, high-profile police murders, right? A lot of national leaders come to the neighborhood or go to places and advocate and rally and raise funds for families, and that's great. But I would hear, and I could understand what they were saying, many of the families that were suffering from street violence say, what about our son or daughter, right? Don't they mean just as much, or no one's here to help us? And I saw the resentment and the pain, and what the peace rides have been able to do, in my observation, is help alleviate some of that and wrap arms around these families. So I just had to comment.
Yeah, and it's again, it helps an aspect of the whole Black Lives Matter movement. Well, how does it help Black Lives Matter movement? Our cry for what we do is not to the powers that be. Our cry is to prove that Black Lives Matter by going to our own who lifts a gun or a knife to kill each other. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said to me, brother, when you are able to go to the gangs, let them know that when they unite, and stop the killing of one another, overnight the enemy will stop doing it. Because he will be afraid of the unity that he sees forming. And I want to report to your listening audience that since Nipsey Hussle's murder, just over the last 3 weeks, we've met with nearly 101 different gang hoods who will show up this Sunday to show to the world that they intend to unite. And they are now joining, and we're formulating what we're calling in Los Angeles from the Peace Rides, the United Hood Nations.
That's right.
And God willing, next week in East LA, I'm going to be meeting with about 40 or 50 Latino gangs.
Wow.
Who want to settle their differences with black gangs. And so don't tell me it's not working. It is happening. We just have to be patient. It's not going to happen overnight. There's still some shooting. But it's just like the Civil War when it ended. It took a while for the word to get out to all the warriors that was killing, and it took time. And that's what we're going to witness on this Sunday in Compton, California, where the rides will start in L.A. They're going to end at Gonzalez Park in Compton. We have gotten a commitment from most of the gangs in Compton is with what we're about to do this Sunday. And God willing, they will be on the stage, and they are depending on the nation. We are the peace brokers.
Come on.
Because they trust my years of service along with the many brothers in Los Angeles and sisters.
That's right.
Who have helped me to sort of like be the glue and the bridge that keeps balance with these brothers as they are trying to grow out of the self-hatred and the pain that they have inflicted on each other.
Yeah, wow. You know, it's a love, right? It's not, he doesn't talk down on our people or condemn them in a way that just breaks everybody down, but it's really the love, and it's the image of reaching that hand down and helping to pull people up. Someone online, my sister, Chris Jones.
That's who Malik is.
Come on.
Malik. He's an angel that was placed over hell. And Malik was either found pulling you out of hell, or he had the key to lock you in. I don't know if I don't have that kind of power, but I do try to pull people up out of hell.
Sure pulled me, Brother Malik. You snatched me right out. But, go back and listen to that. Yeah, pull out or push in. My sister, Chris Jones, she said, hey, Brother Malik.
Hey, sis.
It's Brother Malik. She said, thank you, Lord, coming together as one to stop killing each other. She said she wants to do more in her spare time. As people are responding to that Holy Day of Atonement proposal, but wants to do more in her spare time. So what can people do for this upcoming ride as well as leading into October?
Well, we are going to establish, I've never asked the community for any help. In the 25 years that I have been a minister, I've never did a GoFundMe. I've never did none of that. You know, we pull the nickels and dimes because I don't ever want people to think that we, the Nation of Islam, we do things and we take advantage of the condition of our community, and then we ask people to back us with their money, but yet we haven't proven that we can get the product that we promised.
I understand.
Well, I just believe that God has blessed me. I've done it without any money. I've been able to broker over 300 gang truths, been a part of that, an intricate part, not the only one. I do it with a group of others. But real soon, for those who you would want to help me, I'm going to establish a GoFundMe. My goal, if I can get at least 150,000 people to give $5 a month, not only will we be able to magnify what we're doing with this whole peace movement, but we'll be able to sustain it. We'll be able to hire people. We'll be able to produce even more. So real soon, I'm going to be putting up a GoFundMe, and I'll come back on your show once it's established and ready.
Yes, indeed.
And then we'll be able to show people how to track your money, how to follow it. You would see exactly what we will be doing with it.
Ooh, Ooh, talk about ethics.
You know, and I'm willing to put my life on the line in terms of what people, when they give the money, this is what the minister, see? This is why I thank Allah for that man, because that man has helped me to produce that kind of character.
Come on, that's right.
That kind of integrity.
Yeah.
To where my word have to be my bond.
Yes, sir.
And that's all we want to do. And I believe people will help us.
Wow, look, they're loving it. Thank you all for loving what you're seeing and what you're hearing, because I bear witness to this man's character. You know, it's like Minister Farrakhan constantly leading the way, constantly teaching us how to interact and how to be honest and ethical, when he put up a complete accounting of every penny for the Million Man March.
And you know, I think
it's still up
there. In fact, even with Mars Media, I got to talk to my sister. I think we should live stream.
Ooh, that would be great.
And how many of you would like to view this on a live stream from the cars and the bikes coming, where you could just be an intricate part, even though you're in your city? We'll try to get some cameras to where you'll see how long the procession of bikers and lowriders and Corvettes, and you'll be able to get the flavor and the spirit of the ride.
It's a beautiful.
You'll even see the bus where we put all the mothers who have lost children to violence. You're going to see how we treat them, how we put them on raised couches, so that the spirit of LA can just jump inside of every city. Yeah. And that's what we have to begin to do to reconnect. And so, brothers and sisters, I'm going to try to put Mars Media and others on the spot.
That's right.
To see if we can get some cameras out there and live stream this for you. Yeah. You know, instead of going to Netflix and other people who've been coming after me to buy the rights. What? To what we do, we should package it ourselves.
They want it, Brother Tony. I mean, Brother Malik, they want it.
Yeah, I mean, I've had
right Hollywood. By the minister first.
I've had some Hollywood studios to call me recently and want to know if they can buy the rights to my life story. I said, yeah, right. I'm still telling my story. How the hell am I going to sell you the rights?
First of all.
To my life story.
Right.
No.
We haven't forgotten what
I
you
go
did
to
with
NFA.
The minister. That's right. NFA Studios. Shana Joy, a representative, holler. Thank you for that. I know, yes, I did high five the student minister,
you know what?
Right here. I had to do it.
We also, brothers and sisters, Mosque number 27, we have our own app.
Yes.
And if you want to follow things that I'm doing, even the times when I go comfort the families and go comfort the homies, all of that is going to be put on our app so you can get clips of how we do it. You'll be able to get clips of some of the meetings. Mm-hmm. There's some aspects of the meetings that I have with the gangs I will never show.
That's not our business.
You know, because it can get heated.
That's right.
But there are some aspects we'll show you the results of some of the meetings that we're having. So I need you to go pull down the app. It's free. Yeah. It's Mosque 27. Go to Apple or whatever your app store is and just go, it's Mosque 27, and download that app, and you'll be able to watch what we're doing in the city of Los Angeles.
Here it is. I'm going to share this out right now. Oh, my God. This is so fantastic. You see, Peace Rides again. You know, how did the Peace Rides come about?
Well, again, it came about as a result of a murder. And a mother that I embraced with blood all over her, and just her scream and her cry made me want to do more. So in my mind, I said we needed a peace movement. And I got with Reverend Alfredi, who he co-hosted this with myself, and we sat down and we planned a strategy. Yeah. And I said, our people like pageantry. Mm-hmm. And one day I'm riding home and these bikers ride by my car, and I see that. I'm like, wow. Well, in Arabia, Muhammad used horses. So when I saw these bikers, you got to have a certain kind of spirit to be a biker in any city, but particularly Los Angeles. And I said to myself, wow, I need to go to them. Because one thing I know about Los Angeles, if you are a biker or if you have a lowrider, people out here love their automobiles. Mm-hmm. And amongst the lowriders, you have Bloods and Crips, but because of that car, they don't bang. Mm. You have bikers because of their motorcycles. they from different hoods. They don't bang when they're on the bikes.
Okay, it's unifier.
So I went to them and I asked the Harley, those who ride Harleys, would you ride with me?
Yeah.
And they was just blown away that I would even ask. Then I said to them, but yet I want the sports bikes. Mm-hmm. That's when I realized that in the biking world, Harleys don't ride with sports bikes. They bang too.
Oh.
So I didn't know what to do. So I said, I'll tell you what. If I learned to ride a Harley, at that time I had never ridden a motorcycle in my life.
I was like, Brother Tony on a bike?
I had never ridden a motorcycle in my life.
Wow.
And when I made that statement, the biking club went off. They was like, wow, brother, you'll learn to ride? They gave me a month. I said, no, give me a week.
Oh, my God.
And in 1 week, I learned to ride a Harley and a sports bike. Yeah. So a week later, I showed up to the club on a Harley and I left on a sports bike, and that's how we got the bikers involved.
He was on he had his leather vest, everybody, with a bow tie. I'm gonna find a picture and send it to Sister Felicia for you. Yeah. I just like to hear that. I one day we'll play a snippet to show. You know, it's just a beautiful sight to see lines and lines and miles been riding through the neighborhood,
the flags up the on the cars, and then every hood we go through, brothers run out of the barbershops with the aprons still on. Just instead of throwing up gang signs, the whole city is throwing up the peace sign.
Little babies,
mothers are crying. People in their cars are having their phones and saying, "Thank you, brothers. Thank you all for doing this."
Yeah.
I mean, it's touching you. You can't beat it. And if you do it enough, it's just like the enemy. If you tell a lie long enough and strong enough, it becomes the truth. Mm-hmm. If we ride for peace long enough and strong enough, it becomes the truth.
Yeah. And reversing the narrative. You know, I saw when Brother Nipsey was murdered, and you were out there, and FY were out there, and these mothers were just there, just fell into Brother Malik's arms and just kept saying thank you. And each murder, how it re-stimulates them and it brings back the pain of their own. You talk about that.
Yeah, it's heart-wrenching, you know, because brothers and sisters, whether we know it or not, we are connected. Mm-hmm. We are connected spiritually. We are connected emotionally. And because of our own self-hatred, we had developed a type of paralysis towards one another. Mm. And Nipsey's murder was almost like the straw that broke the camel back and started bringing back in, and we're losing the paralysis. And so many of the mothers, even at Ground Zero, what we call it, is in front of the Marathon store. Yeah. I had at least 70 to 80 mothers to walk up to me and ask me would I raise their sons. Whoa. So it just matters, you know, and it's painful when these kind of things happen. And so that's why we ride. Yeah. We ride to relieve that mother of the pain. And then when you see these mothers forming their own bond, see, they know how to comfort one another. Yeah. And that's the beauty. And so, like Sister Vicky say, you know, you might as well come and be a part of this movement by choice. Hey. Unless an unfortunate incident happened to somebody you love, and now you have to do it by force.
Yeah, because it's happening.
And don't think it won't happen to you.
Yeah. Pardon the interruption. She says it's happening from the top of the hill to the bottom of the hood. That's right. That is exactly right. Wow, I'm sorry. I was looking for a picture of you with the bow tie, Sister Donna, out of Memphis now, but she was in Atlanta when she heard the word, and she said, "Yeah, you woke her up too." And she said, "If we ride for peace long enough and strong enough, it will become truth."
Sister Donna, yeah, she was a college student at Georgia Tech.
That's right. She said you really helped heal her. Chris Jones says, "Black folk, it's time." She has this segment. I wanted to come back and do it, Chris. I gotta say something, but she said it's time for you to come out of the suburbs where you think you're safe and get involved because it can be your husband. Yeah, she's repeating that 78. So they're really just reiterating what you're saying. And the question you asked, you have 78 comments right now, 23 shares, but I'll go back and see. I saw most of the people saying yes, they would like to see it live stream.
Sure, we will work on that, and so just tune in.
Yeah.
We will live stream it. I'll live stream it from my Facebook page, and then we'll also put together some professional cameras to where people can kind of really get a good feel.
Yeah.
The way you see us surround the mothers and the families. You know, when we stop to pray, man, oh my God, it is it is like the energy that comes out of those prayers, man, and to see Muslims and Christians, to see people of all color, as we teach on point number 12, you know, a universal government wherein all could live together in peace. You know, you'll see our Asiatic family there. Yeah. So we'll work on it. We'll work on it. And every month from now on, by God's grace, we will live stream every peace ride.
Woo, every month. Every month. You know, it's wonderful at the festival when the rides come in, they're receiving, the people are cheering and clapping. You have some of the cars already, fantastic cars and bikes. Oh my God.
Yeah, when we get to the end, the cars become art.
That's right.
And so we educate and entertain the people at the same day.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful.
Now, what about the skateboarders? Because there's some skateboarders I saw one year too.
Yeah, well, I mean, we've had skateboarders, we've had bicycles, we've had cats on mini bikes. Look, you can skate, you can be on a skateboard, you know, you can be on skates. We don't care. Just ride.
Michael, yeah, some people jump in.
Yeah.
Some cars just jump in the ride and try to jump in the procession.
It's amazing.
It's really, really interesting. El Kamara Muhammad says Allah is present. Donna, again, yes, we need to really see it so we can feel it. Oh, my goodness. So this coming June 23rd, let's just reiterate, we're going to take off from Compton.
We're going to leave at 115th and Figueroa.
Let me let them know.
And from there, we're going to go to Gonzalez Park. We have about a 3-mile run that we do. And we normally stop at 3 to 4 different locations where there have been a recent murder. And we stop with that family and we embrace that family and we pray with that family.
Yeah.
And so this ride, we're only going to do one stop before we get to Gonzalez Park. And most of what we want to do, we're going to bring all the families to Gonzalez Park. So this Sunday, we're probably going to be honoring about 200 or 300 families. But by October, our goal is to reach every family who's been ill affected by gang violence in Los Angeles.
It's going to be
so we're talking about over 25,000 families by October.
Yeah, they're going to pour out, and look, you know you'll be safe. Let's just say that already. Come on out. It's clear you'll be safe. If you don't have an indication, go back and look at what happened when our brother Nipsey Hussle was murdered and how brother Malik and the FOI under the helm of student captain Halim Muhammad here in the Western region fell out and just put a protective arm around that scene. And my God.
But let me say, too, brothers and sisters, when we do this, don't just depend on everybody got to be on security. Everybody got to see. Even when you see somebody that looks like they're having an argument, you have to say to them, come on, brother, this is a peace day.
Peace.
Can we have it for one day? Can we have it for a few hours?
Yeah.
See, everyone has to be vigilant. And that's what happens when we have these peace rides. I mean, other people, their security turns on.
Yeah.
And they'll start saying, no, brother, not here.
Yeah, don't do that. Wow.
Yeah.
That was something I wanted to mention. The commendations that the peace rides you all have received. Congresswoman Janice Hahn at the time. Also, Mayor Eric Garcetti. He was new mayor, and there was a commendation for bringing down the peace. The violence.
From the mayor of Long Beach. We've had the mayor of Inglewood. We've had the mayor, those 3 cities. It's been Long Beach, the mayor here in Los Angeles, the police chief here in Los Angeles. We've gotten national and international recognition. We've received the Nelson Mandela Award for what we've done. We received the Freedom Medal Award in London for this peace ride. And I'm telling you, with no money.
Straight grassroots.
We just grassroots, mamas pulling together their nickels and dimes, you know.
Yeah.
And I just have not allowed, have not allowed any big corporations to put their branding with our peace rides because I never wanted the community to think that we was doing it for that purpose.
Yeah.
So we are about to open that door now because I want to take their money and build institutions with it. You know, we're going to need our own schools. We're going to need drug rehab centers. We're going to need retraining and reteaching for the 17 construction trades.
Ooh, come on.
See?
Wow.
So we intend to build and have our own construction company. We want to have our own development corporation to where we become our own developer. We want to finish out Nipsey Hussle's legacy by putting the homies to work. See? So we also have a movement that when construction is taking place in the black community, if we don't work, ain't nobody going to work. We will shut it down.
You know, that has happened before, right? Let me remind you all, the construction that century.
Yeah. If we don't work, nobody will work.
They shut it down.
But I'll have, by God's grace, we'll have a team of brothers and sisters ready to go to work.
Yeah.
So our goal is to produce plumbers, to produce engineers, to produce electricians, you know, to produce carpenters.
Yeah.
So that we can build the wasted cities ourselves.
Yes.
We can build our own affordable housing. And so that's where we're going out of the Peace Rise.
That's
and the
right.
Peace Rise will be as a result of celebrating the work we've done all month.
Come on, man! It's just covering the gamut. You know, it's keeping the violence down. And so if people stop with violence and they stop with certain other activity, then you have to give them something. So out of the United Hood Nation, recall this for those of you who may remember, but know this for those who don't, that the United Hood Nation, after you had about 3,000 plus gang members and others at this United Hood Nation coming together where another peace treaty was signed, after that there was I don't want to say job fair,
yes,
but pretty much a job fair.
We put our first, I think, nearly 30 brothers got construction jobs.
Right there.
And,
training.
Yeah.
They brought together like Brad Carson and others,
yeah,
right?
They was paid to train.
Yeah. And they brought in top level, like people, I forget the organizations, but people that are responsible for the trades. And there was one group, I remember they were talking about the brothers, some brothers, elderly brothers that have been in the business a long time, that have a school. They were just like, just come and get the information. So that is there. We witnessed that taking place. And
the United Hood Nation, through that, we're developing, you know, ethical policies that this week the homies are going to vote on the first 7 new policies that we're going to ask every gang to develop, you know, or to vote on. You know, there'll be no shootings at parks, no shootings at school. You know, there'll be no recruiting of elementary and junior high school students. This is what we're getting them to vote on. No tagging. You know, and crossing out people's tags. Wow. Yeah. So we're trying to get some simple things that we can get each hood to adopt. Yeah. And so, God willing, this Thursday we're going to be putting forth our first policies, you know, for the various hoods to adopt. There will be no more instant retaliation. If someone is shot in the hood, we're going to adopt some of the nation or Islamic ways of handling it. Investigate first. Make sure it wasn't the police. You know, make sure it wasn't other groups coming into our community trying to get something kicked back up, because there are people who don't like what the Nation of Islam is doing. There are entities that don't like that we're talking about uniting. You see? So we got to be so ever vigilant. Wow. They're loving it online, Brother Malik. Praise be to Allah.
Simple things can equal big wins. The kingdom of God. I can only see 5, right? I can only see 5. But this is so fun. There you go. They're really loving it. You know, this is something that is long awaited. It's an answered prayer. I just want to keep honing in. Look, investigate for outside investigation. You know, it's. I remember my brother-in-law, he's deceased now, but he would talk about, he lived in Compton. They came out from Louisiana before I did, and he talked about how the police would put them under running cars, you know, instead of just handling them or arresting them or doing what needs to be done, just the different tactics. But one thing that is coming out of this is more community, police,
absolutely
understanding, I would say, right?
Yes. No. I mean, look. It's almost getting to the point where the community is depending on the Nation of Islam to be the new police. Wow. You know, in fact, It was demonstrated. Mm-hmm. And the mayor and the chief of police, of whom called me after Nipsey Hussle and literally begged us to do what we was going to already do anyway and go back to the scene to make sure that we were able to keep the people calm.
Come on. Yeah.
You know, and it was just a beautiful sight on how Almighty God showed us. Sometimes we don't realize who we are. Yeah. We don't even realize how our people view us. Yeah. But because we think if our people don't come join the nation, if they don't show up at the mosque, you know, no, they appreciate us. The black community don't know how to say thank you sometimes. The black community don't know how to tell you they love you.
Yeah.
Sometimes if they look at you and just throw their head up, they just gave you as much love as a man give you who would kiss you from head to toe.
Big respect.
Yeah, you know, and so I just always remember what the minister said to me. He said, brother, I'm sending you to a place where our people have been robbed. So all that came before you were robbers. So you're going to have to be able to take plenty. They're going to cuss you first, but don't cuss them back. Give back a blessing. Wow. Be consistent with your love.
Was it hard?
Yeah, it's hard because, you know.
Is it hard? Because you still.
It was hard. It's not hard anymore because, you know, in myself, I'm struggling with my own niggerdom. That's a Cat Williams word, niggerdom. You know, so I'm struggling with my own demons. Mm-hmm. So sometimes people can cuss you out and re-stimulate you and have you wanting to do something, you know, but you have to call on to God because they're only words. And then I have to go back to say, did that person say something that may be of truth about me that made me get angry? Oh, yeah, it was a struggle, you know, and I've made mistakes, you know, but my God, who don't make mistakes in a laboratory when you're playing with the chemistry of people's emotions?
Ooh, blow up on you.
You learn what not to put together and what to put together.
Wow.
You know, and so it's just beautiful, man. Yeah. I don't care. Our people are beautiful. I'm talking about the homeless man who smells like 89 buckets of urine. Mm-hmm. Even from the sister on Figueroa who don't realize who she is and she want to sell her body. I don't care. I love them.
Yeah, and help
the meanest black man. I don't care if they done killed 80 to 100 people. I don't care. I don't care if it's a black banker and one who thinks they're white. Mm-hmm. I don't care. I love our people, man. And you got to love us beyond our condition.
That's right. Because we're God's. It's not the nature. We're taken out of that nature, yes. Right? It's what mission has been done. The nature is still there. That's right. And you speak to the wow, that is beautiful. Our attracting power is the love we have for our folks. Sharon Muhammad of Great Consequence, Donna, a city of great consequence is one thing he said in 1994, 1990. They're there. You have 109 comments. I wish I could see them all.
Yeah, and it's no coincidence that the city where Minister Farrakhan stood all the way back up to rebuild the teachings. 40 years later now, the sun is rising from the west as behest of Nipsey Hussle. And if God bless us to get the anniversary of the Million Man March in Los Angeles, that's no coincidence. 40 years, the 40th surah of the Holy Quran is called The Believer.
Come on.
And so the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said to me after I spoke in Chicago, he said to myself and Student Minister Ishmael, he said, yeah, I see Christ now forming in some of my ministers.
Ooh, Allah.
I can rest now as a result of what I'm seeing. Well, what is he saying? 40 years after him rebuilding his teachings, I'm seeing the believers become believers.
Which is the best thing that we can be. Man. El Kamara Muhammad says, Allah, his Christ, and divine reminder has brought brother along to be a giant. Talking about you,
praises
Brother Malik.
Due to Allah. I have to bear witness. He's absolutely correct. And as long as I stay connected to him, I'll be all right.
Yeah. If I could use a few of the last minutes, I want to talk about your name. I want to talk about you.
Well, all right.
So here we go, Sister Felicia. We have a call. Oh, my God. We're going to come back to his name. Let's take a call.
Yes.
Assalamu alaikum, caller.
Hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good morning. This is
morning.
Brother James Thomas, and I just called, and I came across this online watching Minister Tony, and a few years ago, I had the privilege of honoring Minister Tony Muhammad at Academy Cathedral, and I count that as one of the greatest accomplishments of my life. And I never got a chance to share something with Minister Tony, and that's been a few years ago. And my my son was working at this company, and he said that he had heard that, he said, man, I heard your dad brought Minister Tony Muhammad to a Christian church, and there was no problems. And he said, well, yeah, it was beautiful. He said, well, man, maybe we need to send your dad overseas then, because that was a great event. And though I am a Christian, I love Minister Tony Muhammad. And the Nation of Islam, people came out in great numbers at that event, and I'm pretty sure Minister Tony remembers it, but I just want to say I admire this brother so much. He always outdressed me.
I know that's right.
I try to keep up with him, but I ain't been able to hang with him.
My brother.
I love Minister Tony Muhammad, and I caught a lot of heat from people for having that at Academy Cathedral, but I also got a lot of love. And one thing, I don't know if Minister Tony Muhammad is aware or not, Pastor Hart passed away in 2016, and he told me how he was proud of me for putting that event together.
Wow.
So, just want to say I love you, Minister Tony, you and Brother Skip, and you know, and I that's one award I was so honored to give out. And man, if I try to emulate you in so many things and the work that I do, and I'm about to be appointed the pastor of this church in Compton. So
beautiful.
I'm going to invite you to Compton. We're gonna
beautiful.
This time I ain't going to catch no flack.
No, brother.
Well, be the leader.
There you go. Well, hopefully, would love for you to come out Sunday if you're available on the 23rd at Gonzalez Park. Okay. We're going to be there till 6 p.m., man. Would love to see you, my brother.
Okay.
Thank you.
Praise be.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for tuning in. Look at that. That is so beautiful. But see, I was asking you to talk about yourself. He just came right on in. As I said, here, let me send you somebody to do that. But this is absolutely the truth. Yeah.
I mean, I love it. It's a Christian brother, and I pride myself in taking the minister's advice about, brother, don't get involved in no religious gangbanging. Wow. We need our pastors. We need the church. You know, we just got to be patient. You can condemn them and tear down these institutions that when we didn't have nowhere else to go, we had the church.
Yeah, come on.
So thank you, dear brother. It's an honor.
Yeah. You know, he says, Minister Farrakhan, pardon me, he says that when the preachers get the teaching, it's our people are awake overnight.
We'll wake up overnight.
That's right. So if I could take a minute, though, to still ask you to tell us the meanings of your names. And also when Pastor Thompson talked about Brother Tony always dressing clean and fresh, outdressing him, I want to give a shout out to his beautiful, beautiful queen, Sister Malika, formerly Sister Latanya, because she's an excellent master seamstress and keeps him well dressed. But go ahead.
That's true.
Yeah. So tell us about your name.
Well,
before we get out.
Well, of course, the name was given to me certainly by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. In fact, after we were blessed to, when others was coming to show their love for Brother Nipsey, and all the gangs and hoods came to show their respect and want to see the fratricide and the gangs stop. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan was so touched that he called me, and he was crying so profusely. I'd never seen him cry to the degree that he was crying. He couldn't speak. I thought I had did something wrong, and he was like, no, brother, I got to call you back. And he called me back, and he said, I want you to know that what you and the believers of Los Angeles area did, that demonstration that you all did was the greatest demonstration of love I have ever witnessed. He said the energy and the spirit, everything you all did was done perfectly. Your words was perfectly said, but the love and the energy behind your words was even more magnificent. And when he got here, he was listening to some of his music with another music mogul. And I'm sitting next to him as his song, Let's Change the World, is playing.
That's right.
With Snoop and Common, Rick Ross. And the lyrics was exactly what we had just did. Wow. So the tears start flowing from my eyes. And the minister grabbed my hand and he looked at me and he said, brother, Allah just dropped your name in my head. He said, you're no longer Tony Muhammad. He's dead. He said, you are Abdul Malik. Then he started saying what Abdul Malik. Of course, Abdul is a big name. It's, the servant of God or the servant of the people. He said, but I want you to wear the name Malik. He said, not Malik or not Malik. It's Malik. Like in Malik Yawmiddin. He said, Malik was the one who uses the law of recompense to settle differences between others. True. He said, that's what you've been doing all your life, brother. Wow. You have grown into that attribute. He said it's one of the top 4 attributes of God. Wow. And I have never given that name to anyone. You are the first. Wow. He said, but I want to even make it more distinguished. I want to add Sayyid to that. He said, so I want it to be Abdul Malik Sayyid Muhammad. Then he said to me, you go look up Sayyid. And when I went to look up the word Sayyid, I panicked. I was afraid, but it had some commentary under it. And that commentary read like this: one who wears such a name is highly respected in his community. So when I went back to the minister, I said, brother minister, he said, you like that name? I said, well, I do. I said, I like what they say about the name. It says here, because Nipsey would always say to me, respect, much respect, brother. Yeah. And it says one who wears that name is highly respected. He said, yeah, but why are you running from the meaning? And the meaning is one who is master and Lord. He said, well, brother, it don't mean, he said, master and Lord, meaning one who has been given sovereignty over people, or people who don't mind allowing that person to handle their life or to guide their life. Right. He said, look at the people that come to you. Right. Look at the people who love you for what you've done, knowing that they can trust you. Right. He said, yeah, you'll understand it more when I'm gone. And wow. I'm like, wow. So it's a name that I pray that I can grow more into and perfect it. Yes, sir. I don't feel it. Wow. I'm honored to have it, but I know that I have a long way to go to live up to those names. Oh, wow. Praise be to Allah. I certainly feel every bit of that. Yeah. I call Brother Tony. Yeah. So when you put it all together, it's a servant of the people who desire to unite the hearts of a people that is divided with the intent to guide their life to a better direction. I have to bear witness to observing that from day one. I have to bear witness and seeing him elevate and elevate and elevate and elevate and elevate. But even within the nation. Yeah. Because I'm going to be honest, and brothers and sisters, man, we bang in the nation. Hard. You know what I mean? We practice that. We're somewhat divided within the nation of Islam, There are enemies among us who want us to be against our national headquarters. Man. There are people among us who want to divide us from leadership, always looking for problems to divide us. And I hate that within the nation of Islam. Yes. There is no distinction from one mosque to another. We all are given the same aims and purposes. Yes. And so I fight hard to keep, even in the nation. Come on, we one nation. Come on, one. Mosque 27 ain't against Mosque number 7 or Mosque number 45, And I'm beginning to even see within the nation, we are uniting. Yeah. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing.
Man, we got to practice what we preach. And we can't ask the people to do what he's asking us to do, and then we're not doing that. And I know we got to get our Sister Felicia, but I mean, just say, he will say it quick. Let's get it together.
Right.
And the streets will what? Read you.
That's right. Oh, no, you can't punk out the streets. They know bull crap when they see it.
Read you right off. Well, thank you so much for
everything.
You, Sister
Charlene.
I'll start with the end of sharing the personal experience with receiving your name, and also with sharing your name and just being at the forefront for us.
Thank you.
And I got to say, come out on Wednesday night, 8701 South Vermont, because he's building that cohesiveness and teaching us about our restrictive laws, and also just, how to keep it real and be Muslims and be brothers and sisters. And it's not just for Muslims. And on Sunday, you can hear him at 8701 South Vermont. Doors open at 10:30 a.m. Ooh, you want to be there. But if you can't, Nation Town TV.
If you live in L.A., I need you to be my guest this Sunday.
Be my guest.
We're going to have a special guest, minister. Minister Abdul Halim from Houston, Texas, will be the keynote speaker this Sunday.
God. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm gonna take care of you, Sister Felicia. Brother Abdul Halim, let me tell you, formerly Brother Robert.
Yeah.
I was a baby in the nation, still am, but came into the nation. My big sister Van had passed away, and went home. And he was saying her eulogy. And I'm like, what is this?
Wow.
This is my minister here. And that's how I was like, what? So, yeah, we're everywhere. And
yes,
thank you, Brother Student Minister Abdul Halim, for that. But, okay, let's get out. Thank you, Brother Malik.
Thank you.
Remember, finalcall.com. Let me condense it. Let's Change the World Music.com for the Minister's 44-song box set. Follow Minister Farrakhan at Louis Farrakhan on Twitter. Your Twitter handle, Brother Malik?
Men Tony Muhammad.
Men Tony Muhammad. Hear me, Liberated Sisters, this Friday, 8 a.m., radiojustice.org. Saturday, 8 a.m., KPFK.
Oh, you said Twitter.
Yeah.
I don't know what this is.
I'm going to post it all. KPFK.org.
I got to get better.
And, we got you, Brother Malik. Thank you, Brother Jesse. Thank you so much, Sister Felicia, the Poetess Morris, streaming live. Go to morrismedialive.com for the replay of today and all the replays. I'm Sister Charlene Muhammad saying, if it's impacting our community or can uplift us as a people, let's talk about it. Peace.